How's it going, folks? I'm joined by my good friend today, Paola, who is a product manager that is looking to start monetizing off of her personal brand and then actually like start generating a secondary income stream, maybe turn that into your main income stream. For starters, Paola, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background, and why do you want to go ahead and essentially try to escape the 9 to 5 grind?
Yeah, I so hi everyone, I'm Paula. I am starting a product consulting and digital transformations consulting firm really. And my background has been in product management with startups. I started actually as a business analyst in the government and then worked my way to private sector working for governments. And then I switched that around and got a job across the pond and got a startup job and as a product manager and then in commercial properties and a B2C marketplace. And then I got my recent job as a senior technical product manager for a 0 to 1 product launch, meaning there is no customers. I am there to start that and launch that
Oh, fun.
and made my way to yeah, an interesting time, I'll tell you that much. And but I made my way as a director of product manager there.
Okay.
And yeah, now I really just want to start my new a different stream. I think I've done multiple industries. I've definitely burned out in many of them. So I'd like to if I always say if I've always wanted to try business on my own, and I want my next burnout to be for myself if I have to have another one. So here I am.
100%, 100%. Could not agree any more. But I will tell you this, working for yourself, I don't know if it's because this is a good niche, but all the product managers that I've talked to that started businesses have essentially like either they go into like content creation, like they become like an online course creator, or they go into like consulting. They've all said that they've ended up making more money, working less hours, or much happier as a result of making more money and working less hours. But let's go out there and help you out. You sent over a Google Doc of a list of questions that you have about how to get started. You're currently enrolled in the program. I feel like some people have been really asking me to create content because um, I bust out for all of my courses, like testimonials galore, and then people see the journey afterwards. I think it's very interesting for people to see somebody go from like 0 to 1, 1 to 5, and then 5 ultimately to 10. Or what we're talking about here is like 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to $5,000 a month, and then $5,000, $10,000 a month. What are your main questions? What do you feel like you're stuck with? And like I want to go out there and just basically help you get to the next level. Mm.
Yeah. Well, as you know, we've been talking about this. I just started content creation
Uh-huh.
and you can have so many ideas. And when I started doing this, I thought about, okay, well, these are the common problems I've seen in working in startup, volunteering in a lot of NGOs. There's always this common issues. Why don't I just um, record content in terms of all those common issues and give them like how to actually fix those issues? And I found I've just tried this for a week, but I've uploaded 2 long content and 8 shorts. And I've only had 1 view for my long content, but over 1,000 for shorts. So it's getting to a point where I have no clue how to even market myself. It's like you have the skills, you have the product skills, but now that you're starting on your own, you don't really know this how to sell yourself anymore. I don't know how to
Yeah,
market yourself. It's a different beast.
got it. Okay. Now, just so that they know, we can all watch this live. Can you go ahead and plug in the name of your YouTube channel so that I could basically just have a quick look, and then while we're doing that, also just share that with the audience.
Yeah. So YouTube channel or my name of my business is PS Product Person. So
Okay. So let's look that up. So PS product person. Let me see here. I see product people. Can you go type in like the URL for us? And then
yeah.
we're gonna link that. We're gonna link that into the description.
Mhm. Let me just give you.
And people can go out there and take a look at it.
Mm, there you go.
So we're gonna grab that. So PS, is that for your name, Paula Santiago?
Yeah, but also it could work as PS third. But I was like, oh, I can just work with that sort of.
Got it, got it. That's actually in copywriting, the most important part that people actually write about is actually the PS at the very end of it. Okay.
Is it really?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. They read usually the first sentence and then the last sentence. So I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen now so we can go out there and just see your YouTube channel. And so we are back here on the channel. So okay, so after years, okay, so let's talk about putting our intentions out there in the universe correctly. What, like, ideally, what kind of clientele, who do we want to reach out to us?
Ideally, the clientele I'm looking for are product managers who feel like they're alone.
Okay,
That's very that's something I really understand because I've been working by myself a lot of the time. So I do find that I can help a lot of people who feel the same thing, really. That and as well as startup founders and people who work in NGOs and small businesses who they have a hard time trying to figure things out. They don't have enough resources, and mostly actually they don't have the proper how can I say this? Um, they don't have resources or don't have the processes in place. I think that's a big one. I find that um everywhere I worked at there's always a problem with their processes. They don't have one, and I always have to create documentations for them. So it's just those types of people and just um people who are in chaotic environments where, they have to take on multiple hats and then they find themselves in these roles and they're overwhelmed and then many are non-technicals and there's just so many jargons coming around them. So that's probably the ones I would aim the content for.
got it. Okay. So the questions that you basically have for me here is like, can you expand on the content creation around your favorite industry, niche, like property or real estate versus cybersecurity? Can it be general news or can it be tech related? How would you make it relevant to your audience? In regards to product management, how would you distinguish between how-to videos uh, versus content that you think are like school skeptic videos, school specific videos like on the back end. Why is that important? What do you put in the description? Do you think about the hashtags and treat it as an SEO activity? So we got all this good stuff here, right? So let's go ahead and begin with the end in mind. So when I'm building a YouTube channel, the thing that I'm thinking about is who do I want messaging me and who do I want calling me? Okay. So who do you want, like, essentially speaking, who do you want paying you?
Eh, Yeah, I mean that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, who do you want paying you and how much do you want them to pay you for your time?
Yeah. I think I mean right now, personally for me, I think it's because I'm throwing everything out there from NGOs working in chaotic environment to product managers working in chaotic environments. It's kind of trying to figure out which audience actually sticks, at least for me right now.
Product managers working in chaotic environments, product managers working at NGOs, right?
Like startups, yeah, like startup founders, uh, non-technical people who found themselves in technical uh environments.
Technical product managers working in technical environments.
Mhm,
Okay. And then let's talk about startup founders, right?
mhm,
Okay. So how you would go ahead and essentially you want to go ahead and establish trust. So YouTube is a very, very, very good place for you to go ahead and actually do that. What you want to go ahead and do first and foremost is, and for those of you who are interested, come into my school. It's called Boss Life. I'm showing product managers, tech professionals how to go ahead and monetize their brand, and also how to generate a secondary income stream, right? So regardless of like, there's two ways for you to monetize your knowledge as a product manager or technology professional. So like software engineers, UX designers, and all that. The starting point is all the same. So you can either take this knowledge and go to a B2C level where you are helping either people transition into product management, like which is what I've done, or you can go out there and actually help product managers at the B2C level. You're basically talking about product managers that's in one, two, three, four categories. If you're talking about it more on the B2B level, then you're talking about startup founders. And that can also just mean like startup founders like in chaotic environments, startup founders at NGOs, startup founders at startups, non-technical startup founders in technical environments, right? So you basically can have all of this right here where you are targeting startup founders, right? This is like product managers. And I just got to go out there and take this and say like, hey, startup founders uh, that are working at NGOs, I can just basically delete this because startup founders are already working at a startup, and then non-technical startup founders that are doing this. I think like we could probably go ahead and come up with a few other categories, but actually in the very immediate future, what you want to go ahead and do is you see right here. Well, this is how many YouTube videos I have, 328 videos. You right now, okay, compared to like all these other people that are in the product space that, you work alongside and you compete with, that's giving out all this great product manager, like a day in the life, project manager at Indeed, right? Or like how I became a product manager with no experience in 4 months. Not bad. 33,000 views. What does a product manager actually do? 172,000 views. Obviously, Chloe here's a champ. 134,000 views 3 years ago. You'll get there. What you want to go ahead and do is you want to build up. Let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm a bigger fan of is if you take a look at all of these different channels and you can source them, uh,
mhm,
they will have a very high quantity of videos. So right now you currently have 10. So the first thing that I like people to go ahead and think about is YouTube. You've got YouTube videos, and then you have YouTube Shorts. What I would go ahead and do is I would prioritize the shorts because you can get more shorts out than you can get YouTube videos out, for one, right? And let's just go ahead and in reference to if you want to start monetizing your YouTube channel, which I think is one of the income streams that you want, right? Is that we want to start monetizing the YouTube channel. In order for us to go ahead and do that, generally speaking, you need about 50 YouTube videos, long form. So we're talking about 10 minutes each.
mhm,
Then you basically have anywhere between, I'll say, 200 to 300 YouTube shorts. These are the targets. But Rich, what if I record this and nobody's watching? Well, we're about to get to the YouTube. Like, how do you promote your YouTube videos second, right? So the first phase of it is like producing the YouTube videos. That's priority one. Is like we actually have to have YouTube videos out there. And because like if you don't get the first things first is you need to get comfortable just talking in front of the camera. You need to get
Mm.
comfortable like uploading it and then you need to get comfortable with the cadence of like this is work. Like I'm pretty sure right now like I'm pumping out mad content, right? Across like one channel, two channels, three channels. Four channels, right?
That's
But-
insane.
yeah, right. So like, but I mean, you kind of like work up to it, right? Like you don't like,
Yeah.
if you think about it, since you're like a West Coaster like myself, like there's a lot of guys that it's funny, like even like, our one of our hometown heroes, rest in peace, is Kobe Bryant. And a lot of new guys would be like, hey, can I come work out with you? Even like guys that were on different teams that would be playing against the Lakers. I forgot which dude, but he was like on a YouTube short and he was just like, hey, like I'm not in the Lakers. He's like, yeah, I know that. I didn't see you in the locker room like all year, right? He's like, but I heard like you're down to work out with other guys. Like he's like, yeah, meet me at the gym at 4 a.m. Like they're like, yo, he's crazy. He's like there at like 3:30. And then like he's just like and it takes time to go out there and work up to it. So you kind of want to go ahead and build up this muscle of like YouTube. So the first thing is like you want to talk about producing the YouTube videos. Okay. I would say first things first is setting the YouTube targets. And I think this is actually like, if I was to go ahead and like list this out as a step one, setting the YouTube targets, YouTube video targets is very important because everybody that's made money on YouTube, not just myself, they produced a lot of content that wasn't being watched, that wasn't being monetized, and they're wondering like where they should go. Like at the end of the day, like the more YouTube videos that you're putting out there, the more data you're gonna go ahead and get back. So when we're dropping content like up, down, left, right, and center, like I'll show you one, like this is the one that I'm doing for tech sales, and it was like
Mhm.
popular, right? So we saw like on average like a good view count. What people ask me like, what is like a good view count for shorts? And I said, organically, right now, the best way for you to assess your data is actually without promoting it, because then the market gives you that. We found out that without me even doing anything, how long does it take for you to land your first tech sales job? Average views that are good, 400 or 500 within 24 hours. Anything less than that, people actually don't care for. If you could do more than 1,000 on a short, that's pretty much pretty good organically. That's basically you putting up like 50 peanut butter jelly sandwiches out in the corner, no Instagram posts. You didn't text any friends, any family. You just rode your bike
But
over
nothing.
there and sold. That was basically it, right? So
Uh-huh.
more organic, yeah, yeah, yeah. The more organic content that you put out there, you actually get to go ahead and actually see. And so like you want to set targets because it's easily to go out there and feel discouraged when you put out like one or two or three, and then clearly you're not seeing anything really come back. So let's go back to yours, right? You're putting out this, and then you're like, if it's like 1:11, okay, 4:14, that's great. 5:30, that's great. So like, why is cleaning your data important? Why you clean your data? So when
That's
I take a look at that, that gives me an indicator of whether or not I should invest my time to go out there and create longer form content. Because the time that it takes you to create one 10-minute video, you can create 10 shorts. And those 10 shorts, like what you have right now, is going to give you the data as to what long-term videos, because you don't have unlimited time, right? You also don't have unlimited energy. So when you're talking about like creating this type of content, you really want to know. So now it's like, huh, okay, 4:14, 5:30. This is actually where I want to start recording my long form videos. But while you're doing that, you still basically got to go ahead. First things first is you got to go and create shorts. For my shorts, whenever I launch a new YouTube channel, I set the short target to 1,000 YouTube shorts. And I know that sounds like a freaking crazy number, which is, but I just feel like I'm a big fan of like this volume and just getting it out there. Um, the more data that I have to support, like what I think ultimately the customer is going to win, right? It's like it's you just want to get paid. You can go in any which direction, so as long as you can go out there and deliver the outcome. But I don't really think like for you, what's more important is 50, 10, 15, $20,000 US dollars a month getting printed into your bank account. If that's going to come in the form of non-technical product managers working in technical environments or non-technical startup founders working in technical environments, I don't really think you care.
They,
I
they can
don't.
be cool, yeah.
I
Or
mean,
someone who's in a similar boat. I don't care. As long as they can.
yeah, like right now, cybersecurity is hot fire. So, like, I also don't care where my money comes from either. Like, I will go
Right.
to where basically, like, is going to print the most cash for me because my time's limited, you know? It's a
But
question.
then when you, sorry, I guess I'm thinking like when you have 1,000 YouTube shorts that you're targeting, how many topics can you think of? Like, what if you run out?
There
That's,
you go. There you go. Now, this is actually where, topic creation, right? So when you're setting the topic, let's finish up this step. You're gonna go out there and set up the short targets, right? I would say YouTube target. It says 50 YouTube videos right here. I would just
Mhm.
go ahead and I would just gun for like 500 YouTube videos. So you're probably thinking the next step is like, well, how the hell? Okay, Rich, say I'm just gonna go out there and just like blunt force trauma power through it, right? How the hell do I come up with these topics? You know, like what if I run out of topics? That's the next biggest challenge, right? What if I run out of YouTube topics? Or like how do I go out there and keep doing topics, right? So now we're talking about content title creation. And when you're doing that, here's the best way to actually start. Create a list of responsibilities for the day-to-day job. So, like, actually go ahead and kind of think about like you wake up and what do you do first, second, and third? You know, like take a look at like recall the meetings that you have. So for me, as like a content creator and like course creator and as a coach, I host like coaching sessions, I do lives, and I basically just do all that, right? I'm just gonna go out there and make a list. you know for you, like think about it this way. You wake up and let's just say like Monday, Sunday, I'm getting ready for the week, so like how to plan. Let's go actually come up with some topics. Okay, how to plan, or instead of how to, it's how I plan my week as a product manager. And then I'm going to come down to how I plan my day as a product manager, what my mornings look like as a product manager. And let's just say right now, the first thing I'm going to do is, let's just say Monday, I'm meeting with my engineering team, right? You know, how I prepare for a meeting with my engineering team as a product manager. Okay, let's talk about like you said a meeting, there's going to be next steps. There's got to be some level of accountability because otherwise those bros in engineering ain't ever going to get back to you, right?
Yeah.
So 100%, right? I mean, like they're not in this racket to do real work. I mean, that's why they're getting replaced by AI agents. That's just a fact. They're trying to do no work, trying to convince people that don't want to do any work that they should work hard is like an exercise in fertility because they ain't about that life. right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go out there and say like, how I influence my engineering team without authority, right? They always say some shit like that.
Oh, that's a big
Product
one. Yeah.
as a product manager, and then let's just say like I have to get ready to meet with some people, right? And then like, okay, how do I go out there and put my dashboards together? I would just go ahead and just kind of go through and just start marking my day, everything, everything from what you're eating for lunch. Doesn't even freaking matter, because like the truth is, the more content that you basically have out there, not every single piece that you're going to do is going to be Oscar winning. But what you're trying to do here is you're just trying to dump content. And here's what I would really recommend for you to go ahead and do to dump content consistently. So the next step in the process is step 3, which is content posting schedule. The biggest mistake that most people make is they go hard and then they just want to get it out there like Netflix. I'm going to drop, I don't know, like all 10, 20, 15 videos. You don't really want to go out there and burn yourself out because sometimes life does actually happen despite the fact of our best intentions, right? So what I basically do is I record 10 videos and I schedule the 10 videos for the next 10 Mondays. So I just know for the next 10 Mondays, I have something out because that week is going to come before you know it. And then
Yeah.
I schedule 10 videos for the next 10 Tuesdays. You see where I'm going with this? Because when you're dropping that shit out on the radio, you also kind of want to be wearing like different shirts. Okay, you kind of want it to have like a little bit of variety, right? You don't want like you know, I mean, right now it's fine because not a lot of people are going to be on this thing. But like if you take a look at most people's Instagram, there's a variation in like outfits, themes, and then all that, right? People don't want to hear the same shit every single day. So like for me, like every Monday is like some kind of resume content. Every Tuesday is like going to be like interviewing content. Then like never every Thursday is going to be like application content, right? Because here's the thing, when you're creating content, it's all about momentum. So I can spend a day recording 20, 30 videos about the resume, but you're not going to want to hear 20 to 30 videos about product manager resumes back to back to back or cybersecurity resumes back to back to back to back, right? So I'm just going to say like, yo, welcome to, cybersecurity resume Mondays. This is Rich. So like they already have this expectation every Monday, I'm going to learn something about cybersecurity resumes. Every Tuesday, I'm going to learn something about like the cybersecurity exam, or like when I'm putting out content like, North Korean hackers, right? Like I'll do some kind of like recent event. North Korean hackers stole $1.3 billion in crypto. This is your market recap of just what went down the last like 7 days, right? So like they'll actually kind of get to it. So this way you don't have to kill yourself and Now, once you actually get that backlog, once you actually get that backlog, and I really recommend people using Airtable, like Airtable to set up because Airtable has just so many different views that you can manipulate. Uh, if you guys want to, actually, that's actually a good one for me too, like how to set up content calendar on Airtable. Right. I think a lot, it's like, because we have a view because we're just managing like what 8 YouTube channels right now. I think our freaking Airtable's pretty legit, like
Why? Do
but like
you?
yeah, you iterate and then you kind of build on top of processes and you just basically go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, question.
But when you record these videos, when you say 10 videos, um, I assume if it's a long video, do you kind of extract shorts from that to kind of put it as shorts, or they're all totally different the way you...
Yeah, this is actually where us non-technical on non-analytical types that just went straight into sales because like we didn't really have a future learning hard skills in college. I can record 10 shorts fairly quickly. off of just my iPhone, right? I have a tripod right there that's like completely set up, and I'll just hit like, I'll just go out there and record like 10. I think like I think like absolute craziest. Like I was in Manila one day, it was like raining all week, and I think I recorded like 230 some like short videos like in one night. Like I was like, this must be what it's like being Little Wayne in the studio. Uh, and it was just across like all channels. There's some videos that I made like across like multiple channels, like, like I would make one video, but I wouldn't say like product management, tech sales, or cybersecurity. I would just drop it on all three channels. Uh, yeah, my team member that was actually responsible for posting, I think she's like just a total boss. Like, because I gave her like instructions, she's got everything up there. That's crazy, like but I would go out there and do that because I want to go out there and like massacre my competition, right? I want to
Yeah.
make like this like idea of like competing against us absolutely futile, but I'm just stupid competitive like that. But in your case, you don't really have to go out there and kill yourself. You can just keep on dropping those videos. Now, there's, you know, this kind of takes care of it, but you probably want to just spend, I'd say like the most inefficient thing that you can do is like recording a little bit and then resting a little bit. Like, no, if you have like an hour where you're locked in or like an hour and a half locked in, I think an hour and a half is like aggressive, but I would just go out there. I feel so old these days. Like I just do most of my work just lying down. I'm just on my iPhone and I'm just typing this shit out. I'm just typing this shit out. And, and I just think about it more from like chronological, or like the more shit that I get on there, um, I start thinking about myself before you know it, like I get like 300 like out like pretty quickly. And then from there, I'm just gonna go ahead and I am gonna go and record. When I record the shorts, what's really important is I record the shorts on iPhone, but I star and add to favorites the videos I'm going to go out there and upload, right? And then now, so that way, like I'm not like uploading like one at a time. So this is actually why my program is so successful and actually helping people like, set up their side hustle, because I'm breaking it down into all these minute steps. Because you will get like a runner's high, you will get to the point where you're locked in, zoned out, and you could just keep going and going and going. In fact, as you're recording, you're coming up with additional names. Like you're coming up with additional titles. Like, oh yeah, I could talk about that. Oh yeah, because it's only 60 seconds. And 60 seconds is great because it forces you to now only talk about the important shit and nothing else. So the next thing is you got to go ahead and, favorites the short videos. You got to just go ahead and add and upload the videos to Google folders. And I actually tell people that they should just do it in batch of 10 to 15, because I recorded like 200, like no matter how, like I think I'm like starring everything, and then it's just like it'll miss a few titles, and then whoever's like now they got to go out there and match and all that. It's like there's 10 to 15 per folder, you're basically Gucci, right? So it's like there should just be 10 to 15 batch one, like product manager resumes, batch two, behavioral questions, right? I know there's like, 10, 15, 20 of those questions. And then I just have that thing in there. So it's very, very, very step by step. Now you want to go ahead and post it up. And then you want to go ahead and just basically post up one a day. I think YouTube allows you for new accounts to do 10 shorts a day, right? 10 shorts a day. And then like the more that you post, eventually they're going to let you go ahead and just post more. But you want to just go out there and just kind of build on it. Now, we have that out. But Rich, what's, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, but how am I gonna go ahead and actually promote the YouTube videos? Because people need to watch my videos to contact me so they can pay me. Because that's what we want.
Yeah.
We want to take the money. from their wallet and we want to move it directly into your wallet. So how are we going to go ahead and do that? Well, there's a few things that we need to go ahead and do, which is if you post it up on just YouTube, I mean, shit, ain't nobody knows you opened up a restaurant. Ain't nobody knows to come. So, okay, so the first thing
There's
that you can do is you could definitely promote on LinkedIn. That's one thing you can do is promote on LinkedIn, right?
Mhm.
Because LinkedIn is basically the Instagram and Facebook for professionals.
Mhm.
People are they cleaned it a lot more, and it's like people are using it a lot more for a social tool. I would say even 5 years ago, it's just like if you weren't job hunting, you weren't on it. Like right now, people kind of like to scroll on that thing too. Obviously, not as much as Instagram, right? Because Instagram is like pure entertainment. You wouldn't post you
No,
pretty I don't think people will be posting up the same kind of stuff. And it's not like it's, they're stopping anybody because like like any other profit-driven tech machine is like if people were okay with certain types of content, they'll just let people go wild with that thing. But okay, so you have like LinkedIn, right? Another
yeah,
thing that you can do is also shared posts. So, i.e., shout out from Rich, right? So you can also go ahead and do that, which I'm more than happy to do for you and for all of my other children that's in this program. The next thing that you can also go ahead and do is also source product management online communities. So this is actually where we're talking about one of the best places to go is actually one of the best places for you to go is Reddit. A lot of people
yeah,
on Reddit, right? So you post it up there. Now, another thing that you can also go ahead and do is also Facebook groups. There's established Facebook groups in there. Yeah, you post, they might kick you out. Another thing that you can do, product management Slack groups, i.e., my competitor, Product School, has an online Slack community, right?
yeah.
That's a good one. Other things here is like you go to meetup.com. Okay. You go to meetup.com and you just start dropping your content in there, right? What else can you go ahead and do, or where else can you go ahead and go? Discord, okay.
I just have a question on one of the LinkedIn parts that I just thought of. So what about people who are, are still working or might be a bit insecure right now, or they're afraid of, showing what they're posting out there as a new content creator to people that they already know? Like, um, how would you still tell them just promote it on LinkedIn? It doesn't matter. Or like if they're still working, their
Are you
company.
asking this for like yourself, or are you asking this for other
Yeah,
people?
I'm thinking for myself and I guess for other people who might be watching this and thinking the same thing. Like on one
Honestly,
of the mental blocks that they have.
right. Honestly, I think everybody feels that way, but that's where I see the advantage is that right now there's still people that are operating under this mindset that like I'm just gonna go out there and be secret agent about it. And I was like, okay, if whoever found out about it, now all of a sudden, now you gotta be successful in the next 45, 30, 30, 45, 60 days, right? And everybody's got about at least like 4 to 6 months worth of financial runway. So the truth is like, when you're talking about law of attraction, there's a lot like, what are your intentions? Like, I want to make money by next Friday. Like when you're like going low and slow, we're not smoking a brisket here in the backyard. So what you're really doing is telling yourself this is going to be long, slow, and hard. For me, my first month coming in as a career coach, I already cleared 15K. After my first in-person event, we did about like $60,000 that month. So like the truth is, I don't really think you'd give a shit if like you'd have like $60,000 of US dollars being printed directly into your Chase. For me, it's my Chase checking account. So I don't really like you just got to go all in. It's kind of the reason why I decided just up, pack my bags up and just move over to Asia. Or like, when I started Product Gym, I just packed all my stuff up and I just took a one way over to New York. It's like, do you want to go ahead and actually do this? And I think like, like you got to put it out there. And I think the advantage, people can look at it as two different types of opportunity costs. Number one is, well, I don't feel comfortable. Okay, so you're talking right now as if you have a choice. If there's an option, then everybody's always going to choose the easiest option. But right now, the reason why I put out so much like recent news content is because like if you take a look at where the world's at, the mismanagement of the LA wildfires, where we're at politically, companies are completely doing away with DEI. You're talking about Trump taking over like Greenland, the Panama Canal, Canada, not ruling out military force. You're talking about Elon Musk that's roaming around like the kingmaker. He just put out on Twitter, I'm backing up Andrew Tate for the UK Prime Minister. He's backing up the far right party in Germany. Like, I'm a history major. If you guys need to see the fucking signs on the wall, we're headed towards some very gnarly times. And the more money you have in your bank account, one of the things that like gave me a lot of comfort was during COVID was like, what was going to happen to my parents and knowing that I had 100% control over my income. So you got to ask yourself that right now, tech is being Sleepy Joe. And they're still kind of operating like, oh yeah, what the fuck is there to think about? Like, if you're getting ready for war, by the time the enemy's at the gate, you already lost. Like, I'm fully ready right now, setting up shop in Asia, getting ready to go on the offense. To me, World War III has already started. Like, so for all the people that are like, oh, yeah, for what? Why wouldn't you want to be printing 10, 20, 30, $40,000 in cash by this Friday and hanging out with me next week in Singapore? Like that's just a fact. Like, why do we want to do this? I saw so many people. It's like hilarious if you're talking about it. I can go all day about it, but like I had so many of my recruiter friends that are like, "Yo, Rich, like how you get into career coach?" Like they basically saw me take Product Gym progressively to the next level over and over and over again, year after year. And these are like guys and girls that I used to work with, so I wasn't going to charge them any money because we used to shoot the shit during the lunch hour. But then that's what made me realize like 95% of the people out there are not taking action. And this is actually why tech is such a big fan of AI agents because they don't want to operate feelings anymore. You know, like the Elons and the Bezos and they want to go to Mars. They want that shit done tomorrow. They're not like trying to host these one-on-ones. How do you feel? Do you feel like it? You're feeling like you're undervalued. I don't know if this is the right industry for me. Why don't you go figure that shit out and call me and see if I call you back? So like right now, you are a little bit, this is actually where I have to put my coach hat on because you're paying to be here, is this is an option. Yeah, but you got to think when your whole lot starts realizing, because I'm pumping out content for this shit hard myself. I have 71 videos coming out by Friday, right? And when your lot was like, I'm freaking going, that's when you're like, oh shit, hang on, which Reddit group am I supposed to stop? So you want to get there first, If you take a look at all those major European powers that were kind of late to, not to say that imperialism was the right thing to do, but Germany woke up one day and they're like, holy shit, I mean, maybe we should have started building some ships because those other guys like England, France, and Spain, they're getting shit rich. And I mean, we got the only access to lumber we got is the forest that we have, which isn't a whole lot, you know? Like, McDonald's got into China just a year after KFC, and they not only lost out millions, but just playing catch up in terms of like establishing relationships with the locals, right? And actually
Yeah,
understanding how to navigate regulation.
yeah,
By
yeah.
the time they came through, KFC was already whipping up their own burger chain out there. So,
That's so insane. That's probably
right.
why they also have like in Japan as well, like they have Christmas is KFC there and all those. Right.
People, there was a time, I don't know if they still do it, but I remember like there was a time when they hosted weddings at Pizza Hut because like they thought Pizza Hut was like a real high-end thing in China, you know? And yeah, by the time like McDonald's came around, so like the whole narrative of the story is like, yeah, this is why my whole team is in Asia. Because like, you want to know why? Like half of my boys here, former ex-South Korean army. I love that. None of this like work from home bullshit. In the office, ready to go. None of this like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like, can we get summer? What's summer Fridays? We're at war right now. Summer Fridays. Like Americans are always trying to like, I think that's kind of the problem is like they're trying to do everything they can do to not work, right? It's just like, you know, 2,200 applications pretty much like prints like 3 to 5 you like product manager offers. The number of people that's gotten like a 250, $300,000 job in my program, and everybody's like, how did you get that remote crypto job? It's like I applied a lot, and it's just like this other homie right here, $300,000 big tech product. Is like, yeah, I applied to like 3,000 jobs. This other homie right here is like, I applied to 10,000 jobs. You know what the first thing tech thinks is like, first thing they do is they're like, are there even? Yes, there's 10,000 effing openings. The truth is, you don't want to do it because you're choosing to be lazy. So you can get wiped out. I largely right now don't even have a qualm in saying it because I don't even live in America anymore. Somebody else is going to work way harder to take your lunch. Like in
Sure.
Korea, they're just like, you just got to hit send 10,000 times and you're going to get a $250,000 US job? No way. Dude, in Korea, you can click the send button 150,000 times. You ain't gonna get a 200,000. You're not even gonna get a $150,000 US job. So there's a choice. They would freaking come out here. It'll be like a Dothraki style invasion. If anybody's ever watched Game of Thrones, that was the funniest scene in the Game of Thrones for me. Did you
Which
ever watch
one?
Game of Thrones?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, like that first skirmish that Daenerys Targaryen, the Dothraki had with the Lannisters, and Tyrion comes off in the hill, and then one of the Dothraki guys are like, "Your people can't fight." That's how I feel about Americans. Like, it was like, and then Jamie Lannister goes back, he's like, "It wasn't even a fight; it was a sport to these guys. It's like a regular Sunday afternoon." So, like, yeah, like 100%. And by the end of the year, a hundred, like Mark Zuckerberg is predicting that 1 billion AI agents are just going to be unleashed, right? So, like, the level of like procrastination, analysis paralysis, perfectionism, I'm telling you, there are so many people that's on this page right now that like people would say, and people are entitled to their opinion, where they'll be like, oh yeah, their content is not even that. They're making more money than you because they're dropping content and they're taking action. And like, Chloe, what kind of YouTube video she's not making after she got laid off? She's not making videos about how bad the job hunt is because she's making so much money on YouTube. That's why. She's not even applying to jobs anymore. What other content creators in the product or in the tech space do when they get a whiff that they're gonna get laid off that day? They grab every tripod in their freaking apartment. They live stream that bad boy. They're like, yeah, baby, today's the day. So like drop that content fast and furious, and then you gotta go ahead and promote it. And then the next thing that you gotta go ahead and do is you gotta get them to engage you. And this is actually step 5. Step 5 in the process, okay? Step 5 in the process is create a weekly live webinar or sync. Because any buyer's decision is largely going to happen unless you've been doing it as long as I have. Like you purchased my course without even talking to me, right? Like
Mhm.
any buyer's decision, but I've also been around for like 8 years, right? But now we're talking right now. But any buyer's decision is going to come from some form of interaction with you. Now, for them to go ahead and call you on a one-on-one basis and for you to get them to pay for you to get them to pay you is a high barrier to entry. But you want to go out there and throw a weekly Zoom call or Google Hangout or like a stream, a YouTube live, something. There's a bunch of free resources out there. I'm all about like not spending money. If it's free, it's for me. So like you need to get them to go out there and interact with you because the best way for you to go ahead and create additional resources is by getting them. See, all of this right here, there is a curriculum in Boss School called YouTube funnel, the YouTube monetization funnel. Talks exactly like I show you guys straight up. Let's chat GPT this whole thing. This is how many YouTube videos you guys need to go out there and push out. This is how many YouTube shorts, but you're still getting it like live from me right now because sometimes people actually no, most of the time people actually prefer to hear it live. So you need to tell them to tell you what they need from you so you can create those assets. So if like let's just say in your situation, let's talk about how to put US dollars in Paola's bank account, right? So it's like why you need to go ahead and clean data part four. Why is it so important for you to go ahead and clean your data? That's part two, right? Okay, like if let's go out there and I would do this. I would make a live webinar. It's like, do you not know how to clean your data, but you want to learn how to? Let me go ahead and help you do it for you. Because everybody in tech is all about doing no work because they're lazy as shit, and we're gonna monetize off of their laziness. So every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, I will clean your data for you for free. Okay. So come to me, bring me your problem, your SQL queries. You cannot freaking parse this. You don't know how to go out there and write a SQL, whatever it is, right? I'm making shit up right now. Or
Yeah.
you need me to help you put together a dashboard, or you need me to help you put together a report. You need me to help you put together a chart or a graph, well, bar graph, pie chart, whatever it is. Whatever it is, I'm going to go out there and basically help you. You want as many people there as possible, and you want to run at least one live every single week for the next, I don't even know, for the entire year. And you're going to go out there and build up your audience, and they're going to resonate with you because now you understand what they need from you, and you also understand what it is you can provide for them. The other reason why you want to do this live one to many is because, like, two reasons. Number one, a lot of times people like they don't ask questions about what they need because they don't even know what questions to start asking. They're just in a place of pain. People feel less hostile about showing up to even like a digital space or in-person space where they know other people are going to be there because nobody wants to be singled out. It's basically like in school, the teacher's like, what's the answer to this question? Nobody wants to go ahead and raise their hand, even though they know it's right, for the fear that the 1% that they're going to be wrong. The third thing is you're going to get most of the questions going based upon other people asking questions and then them thinking to themselves, oh shit, I have a question right now. You're going to take all those effing questions and then you're going to repurpose it as content. Now, initially, you probably just have to do it manually. Eventually, when you have a little bit more funds trickling in, you can have a virtual assistant. Like I have a huge team out here in Asia, actually edit all those things for you. You can utilize AI tools and have a VA just go out there and actually just create all that. But initially, you just want to get more content out fast. You're in a place right now where you can create a lot of content, you just don't know those topics. As long as you have people coming in, you'll have an unlimited number of topics where you can just go out there and crank out. So, what's your offer afterwards? Well, your offer afterwards is either pretty simple. Number six, create an offer of done for you or done with you. Now, this is actually where, like, if they can afford you, I'll do it for you. If you can't afford me, I'll do it with you. So, like, there's companies that are like, they'll pay us 15 grand. It's actually why I'm kind of training all of you guys up because I get a lot of people reaching out to me. They're like, yo, we love what you've done with Product Gym. Can you go ahead and do it for us? That are in the bootcamp space, right? I actually don't have time for everybody because I still need to get people jobs at the end of the day. But I'm moving more towards that direction. But anyway, like, as people can clearly see, like I have the What Bad Economy where I'm showing people how to do this thing for themselves, and then there's the Richard Chen YouTube channel where I'm showing companies how they could just pay us to have us do it for them, or we can train whoever it is that they have internally at their company, or if they need somebody to do this, like this is Paula. I showed her how to do it for herself. So you can either go ahead and either you can either go out there and keep on wasting your own time and try to figure it out, or I can give you somebody that doesn't need your money because she's already doing this on her own, but you can go out there and pay her directly. And people love paying people that don't need money because they feel like they're getting a lot of value, right? So like you're gonna go out there and create an offer, and those offers are gonna come from one-on-one calls. What do you need? Right. So you need them to go out there and actually give you like our offer kept on expanding. So when I launched product management, like I was already a rock star recruiter. I can go out there and get people jobs. That wasn't the problem. The problem was how do I price it? How do I sell it? And who do I talk to? You know, and actually how do I keep that funnel coming in? Largely, if I actually got conversations with people, my conversion rate was and still is very good because people just know I know my shit and I bring it more real than anybody else. So either you like this type of style of coaching or like working with me and my team, or you want to choose to just be average and mediocre and just keep watching other people take the best product manager jobs. The funniest thing is like, even the people that I rub the wrong way, like that, like I have a very particular personality of just like your Asian tiger mom, but it's freaking hilarious. Like so I'll have like reviews on Reddit where this I remember this one guy was like, yes, they got me a job, but the way that they did it was so uncomfortable. I was like, yeah, if you want to make a certain amount of money, you're gonna have to like, what is this, product spa or product therapy? Does this look like a massage parlor to you that I'm running? It's like, your bank account is a reflection of what's going on in here, bro. But it was so funny because like he wrote that review, but the hilarious thing was this other girl also said like, yeah, I totally agree, but I also got the job. Those two posts got me actually more enrollments than ever. But like it was funny when they were up for promotion, and I knew who it was too. I asked them to take it off. They're like, no, people need to know. And I was like, when they were up for promotions, like, Rich, I want to be the next group product manager. How do I position? Oh, so it's kind of like nobody likes lawyers. Like, my cousin's like a lawyer, my cousin Sam. But when people, Sam, oh my gosh, man, breathe. I need you right now. Listen, I had no idea. It's like, yeah, but when you need me to go fight for you, you want me on that wall, Like it reminds me of like is like my I was with my friend group last night. And it's like hilarious right now. Nowadays, when I go to these WeWorks across Asia, I just see a bunch of Asian Americans that I knew from like LA, San Francisco, New York. They're like all operating out here now. And we went out and they're like, you're like, you ever watch that movie Sicario where they had that dude? He's basically like this CIA black ops guy that they send to like stir up like trouble, controversy. He'll finagle it and get like news in the public to agree with something. And they turned like part two was when they turned his ass on they let him loose. They're like, you think those tactics that you launched in the Middle East would work in Mexico? And he was like, I don't know. I mean, there's only really one way to find out. And they're like, well, like, we'd want you to do that for us, but like, we'd want you to launch a cartel war, but nobody could really know the US was ever involved. And he was like, if you guys want me to get involved, that's gonna require me to get dirty. And these guys were like,
Well,
that's the exact reason why we called you here today. So one of my friends like, you're like that. I was like, yeah. When you guys need me to negotiate like a $200,000, $100,000 pay raise for y'all, I'm your guy. But like apparently you want me to get you to the destination and in comfort. Man, this ain't no business class lounge with Korean Air. You wilding right now? This is a freaking It's freaking insane. I got what I wanted, but I did not enjoy how I got there. That's 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 how I feel is my mental health. Asshole. But what hilariously enough, that's basically like, when you're
I mean,
talking about like creating an offer to get them to actually pay you. There's a done for you, done with you, and that's actually where school and starting your own school is important. So like the reason why I started school is basically this, right? It's like a lower price offering. People always ask me all the time, what's the difference between like the product your main program or like any and it's school? And it's just like, here's the thing. I'm going to show you enough value and I'm going to create enough assets where you can get access to it in a community format where you pay for it because you want to interact with other people. Like I can send you all those PDFs on a via email. It's actually not very valuable for you because you won't take action on it. You'd want to go ahead and like if the problem that you're trying to solve is cleaning data, you want to talk to other people that are cleaning data. Like the value comes from like the other people that's already there in your school. So the two things that AI will not replace, number one is your personal brand. People know what my brand is. Keeping it real. Like, and then number
I
two,
thought I was getting shit done and
oh
like I
yeah,
was
that
thinking,
too, right? Let's get some
well, I
shit
thought
done.
you're like an economy class and
Right, right,
like
right.
it's like you'll get we'll get there. They'll get to the destination. You might just feel like you're in the cattle, but you know what? That's fine. You'll get to
Right,
Japan.
right, right, right. And then the second thing is actually your online community. So your
Mm.
pricing is going to change, your offer is going to go ahead and change. But the thing is like this, you got to go ahead and roadmap is you got to create the content, you got to post the content, and you got to promote the content. And all that's driving towards is live engagement, which goes to school, which goes to one-on-one calls, which goes to money printed for Paolo. So why do we have to run this funnel like this? Well, here's the thing. What's going to really nurture people is like people being able to talk to other people that are the same. If my offer is I can go out there and basically, let's just say I could be your outsourced data product manager, right? Or I could be your outsourced head of product or your fractional head of product. That's also a very popular title. I might feel like I'm getting it wrong and I don't want to pay you because of that reason. But clearly you've demonstrated enough value to me as a business owner where I still want to go out there and keep talking to you, except I want to go ahead and pay for your access. Um, like if you start asking for like $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, it's always like, what is it that I'm getting back? People are too scared to be wrong because they're just too poor. And it feels like, oh my gosh, like I remember like that's why I jacked up my rates to like $7,000 because I'd ask people for like $1,000 and I felt like I was negotiating Tom Cruise's next like contract to like whip out two more Top Gun franchises. And I'm just like, yo, it's 1,000.00, and we've been on the phone for 3 hours. This is clearly not worth my time, homie. And it's just like, I already know I can do it. You already know I can do it. The real conversation is you don't believe you would actually come through. So when you figure out that you are ready to leave a life of mediocrity, you can come and call me and you can have your money ready to pay up. Until then, you can go out there and stay mediocre. Because that's what we sell when you're in the coaching, creation, and consulting space is you're helping people get to the next level in their business or in their life. And a big reason why they're there in the first place is because they have done things to deliberately put their ass there. And they're angry at you for why they ended up in a place that they didn't want to end up at, even though they chose to be there in the first place. You know, it's like, yo, 48 hours ago, you probably didn't even know I was alive. Now you're talking like what? I like went out of my way to keep you at bay. You're not the center of my universe. Up until 20 minutes ago, I didn't know you were alive either. You know, like, so when I show up to these calls, it's like, you got my money? We can talk. If not, I go to your competition. Now, the cool thing about doing B2B is this, right? The cool thing about doing B2B is this. You ask for who are your top 5 to 10 competitors. And once you do the call with them, if they don't pay you, just go to the other top 5 to 10 competitors and say, yo, I'd love to do it for you. I actually just got done talking to that. So I'll make money on every when I'm on a call, and let's just say you're a cybersecurity boot camp, I'm going to ask you who are your top 5 to 10 cybersecurity boot camps that you compete with directly, because there's a lot. you know. And if either you pay me or they will, people are like, that's unethical. So what do you think SoftBank does? Or Sequoia Capital? They do the same shit. Either like, yeah, SoftBank's like, they'll tell Uber, either you take my money or I'm
Uh-huh.
giving it a lift. Your
Yeah.
choice. You want to make money, you want to go out of business. You know, you want to go to jail, you want to go home. That's just the environment. But people like that because what I noticed was like when you talk to people too nice, they're never gonna go ahead and make a decision. You know, nicety never really got anybody anywhere. So like, and this is a business, right? So the bigger the price tag that you put on yourself, but that's why people resonate with certain brands. I'm showing like product managers how to launch their own brand because there's so many product managers that need help that I can never ever help because there's just too many people. So like I'm like go help them. you know so I'm moving on to tech sales and freaking cybersecurity. It's like talking to like one product manager for like an hour and a half, 2 hours to try to convince them to invest $7,000 with themselves versus the cybersecurity program. I was talking to this guy. I was working at Whole Foods in 15 minutes. In 22 minutes, we transacted it for a $15,000 program. So that's when I saw the light. I was like, I mean,
Damn.
well, yeah, exactly. Because one demographic you're attracting somebody that's just way more analytical, and then one demographic you're just like they're just like I'm just ready to just get my first job in tech, right? So it's a completely different conversation. So you got to figure out for your racket here, who is it that you're going to want to work with, like who's going to be easier for you to work with. So in terms of your next step deliverables and I'll answer any additional questions that you basically have right now, is like in terms of all of that is not going to be as important as like before you can even get to this part,
Yeah.
the next thing that you need to go ahead and do is you need to go ahead and create about like I would say 50 to 100 titles. I think the best way to even do it to dial that back is like what I'm very intentional about is what dollar amount do I want in my bank account by the end of the month? Who's going to be my how am I making my next car payment? Who's how am I getting my next vacation? What's going to send me to my next Blackpink concert? Like at the box, like before like I'm in this for money. That's it. Helping people to buy product. All right. And I will deliver.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Asian businesses do. So I like nobody else could have ran NVIDIA except for an Asian guy. I really think, or an Asian person, because his other cousin, AMD, is like, there's just that like combination, that perfect combination of the inferiority and the God complex that Asian kids have being raised by their parents, that like other people is like on one side you feel like I'm not enough, I can't do it, I'm worthless. To the other voice, I'm the fucking best. I'm the best. I know I'm the best. That like bipolar conversation that you're having is other people like you just can't like freaking really process that, like they can't really understand it. How you can just shift back and forth like that, like you have multiple personality disorder, even though your doctor says you're totally fine, right? Like that's why you got to go out there, like bring it, drop that content. You come up with about like I would say 50 to 100. You
Hmm.
drop it. The next thing that I tell people to do is once you actually create that posting schedule up, the data is, since you're a data person, is going to go ahead and validate what they actually care about. Like why you want to clean data. And then like part three versus part four, there was clearly a huge discrepancy over here versus everything else. And this is actually the best source of your data. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pause it. I'm gonna go out there and show you. Like you can go out there and type in like product management online communities. right? And you can basically start sourcing here from Google, right?
Mm.
And it'll show like, and you want to just start dropping it in all these channels, you know, like I do it. And sometimes people ask me, what am I doing here? I'm trying to take your customers away from you. What are you doing here? Just like,
Did they kick you out? Because I feel like I tried that and they kicked me out or they stopped my
well, you gotta come
post.
back again,
Okay.
after like I would say like 7, 10 times. Here's the thing, like scientifically speaking, like if you follow up or you ask somebody 7 times, people just like after 7 times, they're just gonna it's fine. She's just gonna keep doing it. There's just gonna be more people doing it. You just gotta go out there and figure out like how to operate under that that market now, right? So like the thing is like I think that's also like why setting targets is very, very important because like the reason why you want to set targets is because like something that like one of these day in the life of product management people said, she said that I thought was really cool was she's like, if you give up after one webinar or after two webinars, like you only gave up after one webinar, two webinars. And like what I took away from that is if you did 200 webinars like a year, like the truth is you will eventually just make a lot of money because you just never gave up. So the way that the relationship that I like to have with people is like, dude, product manage the entire funnel. Like when you're flying across the Pacific Ocean or wherever it is that you're going, even from like a flight from LA to Vegas, people look like the reason why planes have that interactive map that's letting you know when that thing's gonna land is people would really start stabbing people on there because they need to know how much farther they gotta go. So
Yeah.
if you had somebody walk uphill and they would actually show this in special forces training and you told them that um you didn't know when it was going to end, but like they had to do it blindfolded in 30 minutes, you saw a lot of guys break down versus if you had guys eyes wide open and you said, it's going to take you guys 6 hours to get up to the mountain. Now I think physical strength wise, probably like 6 hours going uphill. I'd rather do 30 minutes than 6 hours. But
Mm.
like when you're blindfolded and you don't know how much longer you have to go, it's kind of like the kids in the back seat where it's like, are we there yet? It starts getting really crazy. But for me, I'll set a target. I'm gonna go out there and put up 500 YouTube shorts. I know I can do that. I'll go out there and put up like 100 YouTube videos. I know I can do that. I'm going to host two webinars like a week, or I'm going to host 100 live webinars like a year. I know, and as long as I'm making that progress, interest compounds. Like money compounds, effort also compounds, right? Because it's everything that you're gonna do is gonna go like, and this is gonna go like that. So
Mm.
like, but I know like I'm gonna go and just stay with it. So these are the next steps. The next steps is go out there and create 25, 30, 40 topics and just keep moving. If all you can think of is just the five that I have right here, then those are the five that you want to get out because it's always going to be lunchtime before you know it. It's always going to be dinner time before you know it. And it's going to be bedtime before you know it. And it's going to be Friday before you know it. Just 2024 just flew by for so many people because they basically were asleep at the wheel the whole time. You don't want that to happen to you because like by like hopefully I'm launching a challenge right now to rally for like by the end of March. I think you'd rather have just $10,000 coming into your bank account steady, right? So we have to go out there and actually have like the intention $10,000 is coming in every single month, starting on March 1st. Even like I don't even want to wait until March 28th. I'm like, why do you even want to wait until that long? Like just do it by January 28th, right? If you knew you could make like how would you operate if you knew by January 28th you were guaranteed 10 grand? That's like a hack that I have for myself mentally. And what if I told myself instead of 10 grand, I was guaranteed 100 grand by January 20th. Then I'd go like freaking all in. I'd be recording like all night, all week, all day, all weekend. That's the kind of like mindset that I operate in, right? But get your five out, take a break, but like get it up. And like, because some people will be like, oh, I can't think of 50. You can't think of 50, then just start with the five that you already have on this Google Doc. The next thing that you want to go ahead and do is getting into the cadence because this is like, okay, learning how to record it on the iPhone. Like this is going to be like a thing, right? Like you have to like mark your favorites, have your Google like folder link up, get like uploading that thing on there and just uploading that thing like in a posting schedule. I think this is like a great hack that I shared today, which is posting up the next like just post up all the next Mondays instead of just the rest of the week because the algorithm favors consistency. So it's better to have like 10 videos, one video every single week versus like you drop 10 and then something happens in life or you can't get to it. And then this is actually where like tech is, I think, overly optimistic about certain things and then overly pessimistic about all the wrong things, overly optimistic about all the wrongs. I'm gonna go hard. What happens when you don't? What, you never thought it was a possibility? What was plan B? I didn't have one. Oh shit. I guess you have a problem there, right? Like like you gotta like my mantra is like, yo, you gotta look at this thing like combat. Like if you probably wouldn't be operating that way if like on the flip side of that, you died. Like you were playing Squid Game. It's just like then you're thinking, oh, it's like, yeah. See, when failing is always an option, people just take because it's okay. It's like I'm just gonna take the L. It's like the one country with unlimited resources where losing is like okay. It's like, dude, nah, nah. You know, like when you talk to like real Koreans and stuff, like, I think it's horrible that they have like the highest corporate suicide rate, but they go to work ready to freaking like they're ready to freaking throw hands. This is combat for them. This is not a game. And people need to understand that. So it's just like, oh, like I'm like thinking like the reason why you haven't made an extra 10, dude, you should be able to make 10 G's a month like nothing. Even when I had no money, I can get 10 G's. It's like freaking come on. Like it's like freaking, freaking like, I was like, even when I didn't have any money, I could get 10 G's. It's like all these MBA degrees, like, how do you get 10 G's? I don't know. It's like, what the hell is that doing for you? I was like, do you even enjoy feeling like that? I mean, what have you had? That's why, like, so many people just say, like, like guys don't really become a real man until they have kids because, like, now they got to do it right now. It's just like, oh man, I was like, well, if you had another kid to feed, like, I don't really think you're gonna be like freaking on Call of Duty right now, like,
Oh.
just kind of like filling your thumbs. So like, get that up, kind of get into the cadence of it. And like whenever I hit kind of like a mental block, I just go for like a walk or like I go for like a run or I go to the gym and just kind of
Mm.
like let myself recharge. But I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm always thinking to myself, like, how am I gonna get my next car payment? How am I gonna go out there and get to my next K-pop concert? How am I gonna go out there and just get to like all the things? Because what's important for Rich is Rich gets paid.
Thought you
Okay.
were gonna say Rich gets rich. I was
Rich,
like,
no, Rich gets paid. If like if it wasn't dude, my handle on IG would have just been Pay Richard Chen. If I would have thought that was like socially acceptable. But like it's not. So, and then the next thing that you want to go ahead and do after that is like you want to start interacting. So in addition to all of this, other things that you can do instead of having a live webinar sync is create an Instagram handle, okay, and
Mm.
upload the YouTube shorts.
I start trying to do that with TikTok. I don't know.
I don't know if
Uh,
TikTok's going to survive. I think they will because,
mm.
SoftBank would be very unhappy about that. And SoftBank, we do need that $100 billion investment by Masa. But like, yeah, you should TikTok, but like you should only get it on the platforms because posting it is also going to be, a little bit of a work. But since you're a product manager, I'm pretty sure you can find a way to zap it, automate it, something where it just, gets it where it needs to go, right? But obviously, yeah, as much as possible. But you need to go out there and elicit feedback from them. So eventually, what you want to go ahead and do is actually have set up a many chat ConvertKit automation, because what you want to have is like for us, okay, if I said you're looking for a product manager job, right? Hit me up on Instagram. You probably feel too apprehensive to like schedule a call with somebody on my team because they're train killers. But like, okay, like I'll send you like 15 resumes for free. That's pretty hard to say no to, right? Because you need some type of like, you need their email. You need an Instagram following. So you're always like trying to move them from like one end of the funnel to another. So move them from your YouTube channel to your Instagram, and then you set up an Instagram automation. So it's just like when sometimes you go on Instagram and they're like, okay, or do you want this newsletter? DM me newsletter, and I'm gonna send you this email sequence, right? And then it just automates. You go in there, you're like, email Paula, and it just says that. Yeah, you can basically set that up with ManyChat. You could do that with ManyChat, and then you back end it with ConvertKit, which is an automated email drip nurturing system. So it's kind of like the cooler version of like MailChimp. And then all of a sudden, you are now building up a newsletter for yourself where it just goes from like YouTube, Instagram, newsletter, and it just comes back over to you. So as long as you're consistently posting, where maybe your thing is let's just say like ChatGPT, right? Like I'll give you all the prompts to for ChatGPT to create, because ChatGPT right now can actually create spreadsheets and it can actually create reports, right? It's like I'll give you all of these prompts for free. I just need you to email it to me. All I need you to do is like let me know if blah blah blah, blah. And if you have additional questions, you know, your PS product manager is live every Wednesday at 8 o'clock on at school, and then that's when you can start gathering people because school allows them to go out there and meet other people. And it allows them, so it takes the pressure of like the value strictly coming from Paola off of you. Like the reason why our community is so profitable with product management, tech sales, and cybersecurity is like our community chat is so live that like some people will be like, is it normal that like I applied to 30 product manager jobs just to get like one interview? And a lot of people say in this market that is very normal. Versus like if it's just you and the customer, they constantly feel like they're not getting enough from you. So this is what the MBA programs figured out because I don't think anybody's that naive to think like you don't need to drop 100, $200,000 or even 50,000 or even $5,000 to learn accounting or to learn corporate finance. But or like, like no recruiter, I came from a recruiting background. I was like, no recruiter sitting there looking at the three letters MBNA thinking they struck gold. You know how many of you are out there? You're not even considered exotic Pokemon. Like it doesn't like it's not helping you get more interviews. Nobody on the interview is like, oh shit, you have an MBA. Like we should consider hiring this person over like nobody is. But and there's no job placement because every time during graduation season, our phones blow up with the MBA community because they don't
Mhm.
even do a good job helping the traditional MBAs get the traditional MBA jobs of finance and consulting. So like if you're talking about product management, that's just like something in the future for like these unequipped and dated career centers, right? So when they go ahead, but why do they still drop 100, $200,000 on an MBA program? They're buying the network. If it's
Yeah.
between a choice of NYU and Columbia University, people almost always choose to take out a bigger loan to do Columbia because they feel like, well, I'm dropping an extra $100,000, I'm getting community. So the value that you should be selling to take the pressure off of like what you're going to deliver is like, oh yeah, you're also going to meet a bunch of like non-technicals, product managers and founders that are going to be working in technical environments, right? Where they feel like they have a community because you cannot babysit all of these people all the time yourself. So they're going to want to go ahead and talk to and vent to other people that are going through the similar challenges because they most likely don't have that person. Either like 90% of the people in their life will not care to listen to their bullshit in terms of this domain of their life. The other 10% will be like, oh, you'll figure it out, which as comforting as that sound, that also doesn't really mean a whole lot because they still got a problem at the end of the day. So they want to actually be with those other people. So like you clear on your next deliverables?
I am, because basically, while we were talking, it's all about at least where I am in my stage, it's about content creation and like all the topics that's coming out of my head and probably the next how many weeks or how many months I'll be just regurgitating them out. But I'm trying to figure out, okay, so these are probably the most important things people would like. And how many shorts did you, I mean, for me, I tried to put 6 a.m. versus 6 p.m. and and whether that changes the views. It didn't really. But it did change if it's Friday. No one watches things on Fridays, for example. Like I read.
Not
Like,
really. I mean, like I think once you actually have the consistency of it down, so like if you're asking me that question, I would just say just be consistent with it because while you're building up your fan base, the more value that you're putting out there, now you're giving more people a reason to watch your content, like on a Friday. Like the reason why I do live and YouTube and school is because like the more value that I'm giving from a live engagement, they have more of a reason to watch the YouTube videos, right? Like this is about to get chopped up, like at a butcher shop, this little like engagement that we had. And it's about to go we're about to take every single question, we're gonna make it a YouTube video because most likely people aren't gonna watch this 1 hour and a half thing
no.
all the way through, right? But like a lot of the questions that you've raised are still the same questions that other people have. So like the more like, and I'll be creating additional resources, but let's just say like the next thing is, okay, Rich, I understand all that. The next thing that you're probably really wondering is, what do I create that's gonna make them like not think about dropping their email or like not think about showing up to my live engagement? Because if I increase the number of interactions with them, the chances of them paying up is exponentially higher, right? So if I say like be on the lookout for that YouTube video, you're definitely going to go ahead and watch it now. Right? So like
Yeah.
you're giving them that like reason. It's always about like that's the thing about America is like the people need reasons to do something. You know, like if the market was bigger in various countries in Asia, they would just they would have no problem devouring like 329 videos. If you're talking about like, I just got to watch 329 videos and I get a $300,000 job, I'll give you my everything, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, in America, I won't do that. It's all about things that they don't want to do.
Yep.
That's actually like where my competitive advantages lies. It's just like, I just know my competition is not going to work harder than me. They don't want to, you know, it's like, it's not even close. So like all of this is going to compound. So like just keep dropping the content
Mhm.
you know, you should work up to the point where 10 shorts are coming out like a day. Because if you 10 extra content, you will 10 extra revenue. And if you 10 extra revenue, you'll 10 extra income.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So
Yeah.
like the mindset that people have to get out of it is like, uh, and I'm actually gonna be doing a live coaching call every Thursday night on for the school people, boss school people. Every Thursday night, I'm just gonna be hosting it. So I'm gonna be doing two things. I'm gonna be doing every Thursday night live to go out there and navigate questions like this. Okay. And then the second thing that I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm actually going to be starting like my own version of the all out, all in podcast where I just like invite like, you know, three or four product managers and like kind of helping them build up their brand while we're doing that and just like talking about like recent events and stuff and how they're
Yeah.
affecting people in tech. You want to go ahead and be, I'm looking for three product managers. You want to be one of the guests?
Yeah, sure. Why?
Okay.
That'd be so fun. I think the biggest thing too that I remember on the boss life in school, one of my biggest questions was, hey, I would like an accountability buddy, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
because that was like the whole point of the community as well. Just like, well, people who are like me, where are you? Because I want to also know what you're doing because I don't know if what I'm doing is correct or um
Yeah.
maybe bent.
Yeah. Last Thursday, I did a group resume review session.
Hmm.
We did it for like the first time. And for like years, people would be like, "Oh, I don't want other people seeing my resumes." Like, yeah, but you want to see other people's resumes, right? Yeah. Well, if you want to see it, you got to show it too, homie. So what's it gonna be?
That's true.
Yeah. But like it was amazing because like after they saw like 20, it was like a 3 hour session after they saw like 20, 30 resumes, people are like, oh shit, now I know why recruiters are such assholes. It's like, yeah. It was like, we said this was a template. This ain't no freaking cellular phone contract where we have fine print. We said spice up that freaking resume to reflect your own person. You guys just took that shit straight off from the shelf. Didn't even bother giving it a facelift. Like all the shit looks the same. That's why you're not getting interviews, bro. And then they're like, oh man, like, oh, Rich, thanks. This is like that's the thing, right? That's actually why, like, we did it for the first time for 2025 for this batch. And then like up until then, people were like, I was like, that's the thing. Like when you're putting yourself out there like together, you're actually just gonna get like so much more clout. I mean, so much more progress in a shorter amount of time. Because like that forces you now to be accountable. You know, they ain't freaking training the next generation of soldiers from home. It's like they ain't training K-pop idols from home. You ain't trying out for a football team from home. What do you think this is, yo? Nah, this forces people now to be in a situation where they're going to be like, I'm putting it out there. I'm going to help you print 10,000 US dollars. We're doing this shit live. This is going to be on YouTube. People are going to be looking at your thing. And then, like, I'm not going to fail. So you got to, like, so all of a sudden it's just like, you know,
Yeah, because now I have more. It's
well,
like,
yeah,
oh
there's
shit.
no going back. There ain't no going back now.
Yeah.
The
The
first
cliff
bullet
got
was
higher, I'll tell you that much.
the first bullet was fired. So like, let's go, man. I mean, people talk about like, oh, like, am I really like launching like a side hustle? I was like, you're talking like you wanted to be a product manager. Like, bro, you haven't wanted to be a product manager in years. All right. Like, you were bored out of your mind freaking launching shit you did not believe in, talking to people you don't like for money you know is beneath you. All right. And getting, I was like, you're talking like this was like some like happy marriage. You wanted to get a divorce for years in this, dude. You got a year of runway, cash out that 401k, let's go YOLO. You don't see your freaking competition doing anything. So when I left recruiting, I was like, let's just go. I remember I was talking about it for 3 years. I was going to all these like product management boot camp get-togethers, and I was like, I would freaking murder them. And then at some point, I just realized, well, I was like, oh my gosh, they're just. I was like, what people are saying is so stupid. And I was actually just thinking to myself, no, Rich, you're the stupid one because they're printing cash. They're making money not getting people jobs. And you could get people jobs and you're not getting money. And it kind of hit me when I was talking to this one product manager. It kind of hit me when I was talking to this one product manager that was just like, all these people, like, I helped him get a product manager job, his first product, when I was a recruiter. I met him like my first quarter on the job. And eventually he really wanted to get into an awesome startup. And then eventually like he wanted to get into like really like he wanted to get into big tech, and I helped position him in Google, and he was actually telling me that even at Google he was like, there's all these other people here. He was like, they're so stupid, they're making more money than me. And like, like after you've been like, and granted, him and I came from like, I'm not gonna lie, him and I very similar age group. Him and I were both from the same cultural background. He was a Korean guy, I'm obviously like Chinese American. And I was like, nah, they're actually the smart ones because they're making more money than you. And it's kind of like that friend that you have that, like, of course, is like, they'll listen to you talk shit, you'll listen to them talk shit, but at some point, like, you're just like, yo, this is not helping me. It sure as hell isn't helping you, but more importantly, it's not helping me. And it's just like, because you're like, it's like one thing that like tech recruiting, they trained the hell out of us was like mindset, because you're in a very competitive racket because you're in sales. You are placing X amount of placements. And the guy asked, he's like, you have to be the hero of your own story. And I totally believed that because I was a film minor. And he was like, there's only three characters that you can play. You're either the hero, you're the villain, or you're the victim. And I was like, if I'm the main character in my own movie, I'm sure as hell not the villain. I definitely don't want to be the victim. Well, he kind of narrows down the only choice that's left, unless you want to create category four, which I don't really have one, right? So like you got to ask yourself that, like, I'm gonna help, everybody. I don't think we're in a position right now where we're in a position right now where people can wait on launching their own brand anymore. My parents are still back in LA right now. And LA is the city that I was born and raised. I
Yeah.
actually thought about coming back when my parents were like, honestly, we don't really think you should do it. Uh, the President Trump, his plane couldn't take off. And they're like, the last thing we need you to do is get your plane diverted somewhere because you can't land. They're all the way like about an hour and a half outside of east of the city, San Gabriel Valley, where all the other like Asian Americans live.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, we don't know what it's gonna like. We're not even really like trying to go too far locally, you know. And I thought about that. It's like it's actually very true. I mean, the situation, there's a whole area of LA where people just abandon their cars. I was like, my job is like here, but I was actually just thinking to myself, like, in any situation, it's just better for me to have more money because I just have more leverage over the situation. And it seems like the world has gotten to be like it is. I'm about to record like mad content today, and the number of people that say like, the All In podcast, what their take on Greenland was? Like, I think it's really smart that Trump, like, you think it's okay to just take over another piece of sovereign territory? I mean, because once you say that's okay, you got a lot of other players on this little map called Earth that say like, well, we think what's best for us is to take over
I
they're
know.
like, well then, I mean, China's like, you know how we just draw like 8 dash lines right here? We just call that little piece of water. That's the best thing for us to do, right? You start getting all these other people that can start easily justifying, because that's just the thing. Like, you're talking about like, well, we have her. Everybody's got his life is like a K drama. Everybody's got like some legitimate reason why they shouldn't be doing, why they should do something they know they shouldn't be doing, but they want to do it. That's the whole reason why rules exist, right? Like, there's a lot of things I want to do that I
Yeah.
should not be doing. But that's like, but you know, oh man, dude, this is about to get raunchy. I, I was out this weekend. It was freaking hilarious. I saw these two guys around this drinking area called LKF in
Yeah.
Hong Kong. They're like, dude, man, there's like two guys I don't even know. They're like, she's married, like married but available. And I was just like, oh man. I was like, man. I was like, and I was just talking about the Greenland thing. I was telling my friend, like, you see what happens when people don't operate a rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, but yeah, so I was like, I'll help you. We're putting it out there. I'm gonna be doing these sessions with you like live along with other people. I'm setting up Thursday as kind of like the go-to day. I'm gonna be notifying everybody, but 2025 is the last year where it's no longer an option. As I'm going through this with you too, I'm also memorizing my own journey because people ask me like, what, how did you guys launch Prodigy? I'm like, what did you guys do? And I was like, I really regret not creating more content because I thought I needed to be more established. But if somebody came into my room right now with a gun, like, what'd you guys do during month one? I remembered how much money we made our first quarter. I don't really have clear recollection like exactly what we did. I would pay good money right now to like shit. I should have documented that thing even on my own iPhone. I think I would be forget other people. I would be very interested. I was like, oh my gosh, we did this, and we did this. I would have loved, man, we could have like documented like what we did the first 30, 45 days of COVID was legendary. You give me one like awesome Korean video editor, man, we can make a hell of a trailer with that thing for like an indie movie, dude. I that was the scary. I don't think we've ever operated at that level of like just pure military like surgical proficiency in what we were able to do to just counter. But I'm gonna help you. Let's set the expectations all in the right place. Let's set the number at 10K. It starts with building a brand. You know what your next 5 moves are. Now you gotta just do it. All right.
Yeah. I mean, after this, I'm gonna continue on the script. I just finished editing another video. It's scheduled for tomorrow. Another one's scheduled for tomorrow. I'm just gonna have to keep doing it, honestly. And my brand's probably not gonna be as crass as yours, but I'm just like, yeah, I'll help you. I'll be like, not business class, but maybe premium class. But we'll
Premium
get.
economy. Yeah.
But there might be some, like stopovers if necessary. But no, yours is
Yeah. Yeah.
economy, zip air, Like you'll get there as fast as possible.
I like to think Hyperloop, but like
Well, actually, Hyperloop would be better. I'm just
the
thinking
we will help. It'll get done. And you know, this is like your I think like um yeah, it'll get done. Like, let's just go ahead, make it happen. So, like, to go ahead and recap, I'm gonna get this video up. I'm gonna actually have this thing edited myself. But the first thing that like we're gonna go ahead and do is we're just gonna go and just think about like create as many content titles as possible. Just what do you do? I meet with my engineers, then like you talk to like your let's just say like you talk because you're like the first product manager there, right? Like what's it like being like, product manager number one? Next thing that you could talk about is like what was it like talking to like like investors, all of that stuff, all the people that you talked to, all the things that you did, all the different types of conversations. And as you're walking around, I think, or like if you even have access to like your work calendar, you're just really thinking like all the stuff that you did. Like you can even go ahead and prompt chat GPT. Can you create a list of 50 things that a product manager at a startup that is the first product manager at that startup would do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis? And it'll create a list, right? And that's basically like your thing right there. And you can just roll with it and just start recording.
that's honestly so before I left my job, I did a transition manual, like
Uh,
a basically of the 2 years that I've done, 0 to 1, what have I done?
mm,
Set 10 pages. I put that all in one document. If I just remember, if I can just get that, and
mm.
I'm gonna ask if I could just get that document. That's 100 videos and
Yeah,
video.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Easy, easy, easy. Now we talking. Let's go. I got to run, but let's go print
Yeah.
cash.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, Rich. I'll talk to you later.